The Great Steppe, millenniums of events, hundreds of nomadic tribes and people. They lived, worked, made discoveries, conquered large tracts of lands and left us some mysteries. To learn more about it, watch project called Enigma of the Great Steppe. This town is primarily known as the motherland of the great Turkic thinker Joly Korkut. Many legends and epic are handed down in this region, but the legend about the OGUZ creator holds a unique position, as well as the legends about the new city the OGUZes call their capital and the headquarters of their Khanate. The city of ZHANKENT, or ZHANKENT, lacks its place in the historical arena yet. Why do we know little about it? And why is it assumed that the history of the city is much more deeper than the history of all other megacities located along the Sirdarya? What do archaeologists tell about this? We inspected the site of the city of ZHANKENT together with Lerk. It's located in 20 kilometers from the first ford of the Sirdarya riverside, 6 kilometers away from the riverside. The fortress has high fence and 4 angles typical for the Asian citadels. We could see the ruins of brick walls of buildings. The very first mentions about the city could be made in explorers and chronologists as early as in the 10th century. In olden times, the city was both the OGUZ capital, residence, and the largest commercial center in the lower reaches of the Sirdarya River. These lands attract historians and archaeologists, so far giving promise to disclose many secrets. The stories were written down by the eyewitnesses. In other words, people really visited the city, and the stories dispersed in their words. The medieval work Kitabik al-Masalik contains some mentions about ZHANKENT. It is also said that ZHANKENT was located in the lower reaches of the Sirdarya River and that there were selling spaces in the city, and it was inhabited with a large number of craftsmen, and it was the OGUZ center. Moreover, it was described as winter and summer headquarters.
көптеген сауда орындары бар екені, ол жақтың қолөнершілердің жақсы дамығандығы және сауданың жақсы дамығандығы, сонымен қоса ол мекеннің, яғни ZHANKENT қалашығының сол кезде жаңадан қалыптасқан OGUZ мемлекетінің орталығы ретінде айтылады.
Өзі ZHANKENTтің орналасқан жерінің өзі.
The location of ZHANKENT is very convenient from strategical and geographical position. Intersections of 9 roads, international trading relations, the Great Silk Way. All that was related to ZHANKENT. Roads passing southwards led to Central Asia through Khorizm and then to Asia Minor. Kipchak steppe on the north, through the Aral and the Volga River to the Caucasian lands on the west. The eastern route passed to China through Sauran, Otrar and Isfijab. It was the important cultural and commercial center, particularly in 9th, 10th centuries.
Aral Еділ өзендері арқылы Кавказ жағалап, Қара теңіздің жағалауларына Азовқа қарай өтіп кетеді. Шығысы белгілі Қытайға кететін бағыт. Осы Сауран, Отырар, Испичал арқылы.
Is it possible that this city is presented in the history as a commercial center on caravan tracks and the capital of OGUZes only, whereas the Kazakh history has enough places with similar benefits? Given international expeditions annually working in this region, what does really attract scientists and historians? Can be there any secrets unknown to us and undisclosed yet?
Басы ашылмаған проблема.
The major question surviving to this day is whether OGUZ had the classical state, with a limited territory, the head and functioning machinery, or it was the feudal state created through merger of tribes with feudal structure not reached the national identity, i.e. the leader was elected from several tribe heads and all others followed him. Or was it the union of clans only? Primarily, this question remains unsolved.
Рулардың бірлестігі ғана болды ма? Осы вопрос. То есть осы мәселе бірінші кезекте осы мәселенің басы ашылған жоқ әлі.
Археологтар Жанкент ең бірінші жылы өткен ғасырдың 60-шы жылы қарай.
The tourism expedition was the first which conducted research in the places in 60s. However, the researches were not complete. Now the archaeologists are excited with the question of the sanctuary in which Janкент existed. The task includes excavations, creation of an open-air museum and transform it into one of directions of tourism.
Мұражай ретінде сондай туризмнің келешек бағыттарының бірі ретінде жасау.
Based on comments by archaeologists, there are many open questions yet. Research on this medieval city were commenced recently, within a few years following independence. Certainly, research efforts were made earlier as well. However, at the time, all research results were forwarded to the center, Moscow Archive Museums. Currently, the scientists possess expedition materials starting from 2005 only. As of the time of Janкент's existence, it was 6th to the 13th centuries. According to the information available, the latest research demonstrated that the city existed twice, in the days of OGUZ Khanate and the Kazakh Khanate. The big cemetery Mıntobe is located close to Janкент. During investigation of the cemetery, we established that the people were buried there starting from the 1st century BCE and up until the 18th century AD. This means that the life began there as early as the 1st century BCE. Moreover, no research for determination of exact time of Janкент existence were conducted previously.
Адам баласы біздің заманымызға дейінгі 1-ші ғасырдан бастап 18-ші ғасырға дейінгі аралықта жерленгендігі анықталды. Яғни, бұл жердегі тіршіліктің біздің заманымызға дейінгі 1-ші ғасырдан басталғанын білдіреді. Дәлел. Оның үстінде мынау Жанкенттің нақты жасын анықтау үшін кең көлемде белгіленген бағытта қазба жұмыстары жүргізілу керек. Осы күнге дейін қазба жұмыстары осындай мақсаттағы қазба жұмыстары жүргізілген жоқ.
It is an astonishing fact, isn't it? Nobody can say truly to which period the medieval city we are telling about refers to, although the researchers of that region keep arguing that the history knows the only one Janкент and it existed in the days of OGUZes.
Біздің білетініміз қазіргі күні осы ең соңғы өмір сүрген периоды Жанкент.
What do we know exactly is the last lifetime of Janкент, which was identified using found coins dated 940s, 960s. Thus, we can say that Janкент existed until the middle of the 10th century. The final period falls on 10th plus minus 11th centuries. Besides, we have no univocal facts, but during excavations we noted compacted thick ash layers, so it can be assumed that the city was burned and reconstructed several times.
Қазба барысында қалың күл қабаттары нығыздалып төселген 10 сантиметрлік, 7 сантиметрлік күл қабаттары кездесіп тұрады. Яғни қаланың бірнеше рет өртеніп кетіп, қайта қалпына келтіріп отырғанын дәлелдейтін стратиграфиялық материалдар бар қолымызда.
No matter what guesses could be made or myths and legends about Janкент could wander, actually we may only speak about some OGUZ city, highly prosperous, with streamlined commerce and living principles. Will the history give us any prompts and will the science confirm them? The city of Janкент is interesting because every new fact becomes a scientific discovery. As we can judge by remained footprints of Janкент located at mouths of the Sirdarya leading to the Aral, it was a big city. There is no information about builders of the city and its citizens. At present, we know that this region was populated by OGUZ tribes. Mahmoud Kashgari contended that initially OGUZes included 24 tribes. Later, authors, particularly Marwazi, told about 12 tribes only, which came from the western Zhetesu. Given that ZHANKENT appeared at the riverside of Sirdarya, which passed there before time, at the interface of the nomadic world with the settled agriculture, it is no wonder that the capital city of OGUZ was green and beautiful. This can be confirmed by excavations of nothing less than a real Chagan's palace. According to our research, the state of OGUZes was big. Despite the fact that they existed during a very short time, they rapidly reached the level of national identity. They had their center, developed commerce, established various diplomatic relations. For instance, they consolidated with the Russian prince for war with the Kazakh Empire. At its time, the Kazakh state was a giant empire located in the territory of present Astrakhan in the north of the Caspian Sea. Russian princes levied steady wars with that country. The Russian written accounts contain information that in 985 the Russian princes joined their forces with OGUZes, resulting in disruption of the Kazakh Empire. It means that OGUZes had huge forces able to protect its people.
Территориясындағы халықты қорғай алатын үлкен мемлекеттің үлкен әскердің болғанын көрсетеді.
Any other city located along the Sirdarya could become the center of the OGUZ state, but they made use of the key advantage of ZHANKENT, its location. Developing cities started playing a crucial role in commerce with Semirechi, Khorizm, Maveranahar. People sold meat, animal skins, malachite, whereas slave trade of slaves captured during the wars also roaring. Just imagine, let's say every Friday the commerce seethes. It's a real bazaar. One could find there China silk, Indian clothes and fruits from the Arab countries, everything that was popular with the merchants of the Silk Way. Nevertheless, it should be noted that majority of OGUZes dealt with nomadic cattle raising, breeding of sheep, cows, camels, horses, and hunting. In 10th century, Ibn Fallah described OGUZ aristocrats having 10,000 horses each.
Сыртында қорған қамалдары бар.
The fortress is fenced outside. Citadel internal fortification for governors is in the center of the city. OGUZes were strong in the art of war, so ZHANKENT was equipped with mangonels. They used stones for protection and for construction of their fortresses with thick walls. As we became aware, the thickness of the thinnest wall of citadel in ZHANKENT is 4.5 meters. Its bottom part is 7 meters. Along their external edge, the thickness of city wall foundations reached 14 meters and became thinner towards its upper part and comprised 4.5 meters. Erection of similar fortress required a great deal of material and human resources. Such construction is impossible without powerful workforce. This means that at least 10 to 15,000 persons lived in that region. We tell at least, but the population size could reach 50,000 persons.
Нені қажет етеді, ресурстарды қажет етеді, және адамдардың ресурстарын қажет етеді. Яғни бұл өңірде, бұл ZHANKENT қалашығының айналасында, ZHANKENT қалашығының өзінде кем дегенде 15 мың, 20 мың халықтың өмір сүрген. Біз кем дегенде деп отырмыз. Мүмкін ол 50 мыңға дейін жетіп қалуы мүмкін.
The best survived and the most known are ruins of ZHANKENT, which is supposed to be the residence of the head of OGUZes. ZHANKENT, located in 40 versts from the lower reach of the Sirdarya river between Sirdarya and Kuvan, was built of burnt bricks. Its ruins are surrounded with irrigation channels and fields. Items found during excavations help describing life and household of ZHANKENT citizens. Luckily for archaeologists and historians, they are found in quantities. Small discoveries, each being the fact confirming that the citizens of the capital city of OGUZes were prosperous enough and allowed themselves luxury goods in everyday life.
Археологик қазба жұмыстары кезінде нәтижесінде табылған заттар. Бұл негізі әрі былай жария етуге болмайды, бірақ сіздер үшін съемка үшін қажет.
These are items found during archaeological excavations. We cannot show them, but I will show them to you only. The most unique thing is a money box, as we call it, speaking present-day language. This conic item is also very special. Possibly it was filled with some liquids and hanged. Look at this ceramic surface and small floral ornament. This jar is also very interesting. It's the first thing found unbroken.
Сосын, ал енді мына заттар бізде бұрын кездескен. Мынандай суреттермен, орнаменттермен, бұл растительный орнамент. Өсімдіктердің жапырақ немесе сияқты істелген. Бұлар бізде кездесті, бірақ осындай шағын көлемде өте сирек табылады.
The tradition of collecting money, which is widely distributed in the modern society, took place in that distant ages. This is evidenced by this jar designated for money collecting, so saying the father of money boxes. Another characteristic feature is that majority of ceramic ware found has small sizes. It is not improbable that we can observe craftsmanship of handworkers who overstepped the line between quantity and quality in manufacturing overware. There are some more interesting details of the life of OGUZes, a potty and a nose used in a Kazakh cradle.
Жанкенттен табылған түбектер
Potties found in ZHANKENT are also brilliant proof of neatness and maintenance of child's hygiene as far back as times of OGUZes.
адамның этнографиялық, гигиеналық, тазалық нелерінің қалыптасқандығын білдіретін факт болып есептелінеді.
Жанкент қаласының бірінші номер қазба орнынан табылды.
The jug with the inscription in Arabic 1,000 gold coins on its bottom was found in ZHANKENT during the first excavations in living quarters. Maybe 1,000 gold coins is a price of the jug, or those 1,000 gold coins were brought in need. So this is the indicator of prosperous commerce. The jug was brought from Khorizm. It was glazed. This is the fact confirming existence of import.
Деңгейдегі жоғары дәрежеде жасалған керамикалық.
Әр үйде, әр үйдің бөлмесі, әр бөлмеде емес, әр үйдің орталық бөлмесінде, центральный бөлмесінде ашық ошақ болған.
Open fireplace was in the central part of each house in ZHANKENT. Tandoor was installed near the fireplace with the sheep figure or statuette located close to the tandoor. There were talismans of hearth and home. In other words, they believed that the image of the sheep presenting in the house would protect the family against all the bad. There would be consonance and harmony would predominate in the family.
Нагрузкасы жоқ, яғни бұлардың үстіне қойып еш нәрсе пісірмеген, бұларды бір нәрсе үшін пайдаланбаған, бұлар тек қана сол ошақтың басын, оттың басын қорғап тұратын тұмар ретінде пайдаланған. Яғни амулет ретінде.
There is another question related to ZHANKENT, which until now divides scientists and archaeologists for two camps, and which has no unambiguous answer yet. When, how, and why did ZHANKENT cease to exist?
Жанкентте Санжар деген хан өмір сүрген. Бегім сұлу, өте әдемі сұлу кісі болған. Хан нөкерлерімен бірге аңға шығып, саяхат жасайтын уақытта
Sanjar Khan governed ZHANKENT. His wife Begim Sulu was an unspeakable beauty. Once the Khan went in the hunting field but forgot his hand jar. He sent his wazir for it. The wazir froze, amusing the beauty of Begim Sulu. When the Khan asked him why he delayed, the wazir told a lie, saying that Begim Sulu did not let him go. After his return from hunting, the Khan trounced his wife, being sure in her guiltiness. And Karabura, the father of Begim Sulu, gave malediction to Sanjar, saying, "Let your people be immersed into snakes." That's what happened. Heaven rained snakes, which wiped out citizens.
Сол бір-екі күннен кейін аспана үлкен местер түсіп, сол местен жылан шығып адамдардың бәрін қырап жейді.
Халық аузында сақталған аңыз жылан жұтқан қала деп аталады.
The legend preserved by the people narrates about the city immersed, ingested by serpents. The history of the city is associated with snakes. We made comparisons of legends and written information, and we understand that destruction of the city is associated with the War of Serpents tribe, whereas excavations directly demonstrated that big jugs fall down, i.e. laid with their necks directed towards earth.
Яғни аңыздың желісі осы қыпшақтар мен оғыздардың арасындағы соғысты, шайқасты жаңағы көрсетеді деп ойлаймын. Мынау жоғарыдан былай құлаған хумдар, немесе хум дейміз үлкен құмыралар ғой, солар бүтіндей ауды жерге қарап бірнеше хум табылды. Ешқандай сынбаған, тек құлап түскен. Бұлай тұрғанда құласа жанына құлау керек қой, жоғарыдан құлап түскен.
Earthquake could be the potential reason of destruction. The earth cracked and toxic gas escaped from under the earth. Thus, mouse and man disappeared. After toxic gas deposited and under temperature raised, number of small snakes increased. Well-known Russian art historian Vladimir Stasov wrote, "Why can't the old city near ZHANKENT be our Pompeii?" And added, military men who usually do not care about antiquities are interested now in ruins, think about their scientific importance, detach sentinels to guard them, trouble about their protection against any harm. Isn't this wonderful? Isn't it the best news at us? We cannot assert explicitly whether this city repeated fate of Pompeii or not. Everything remains at the level of legends and assumptions.
Археологтардың айтуынша, бұл қаланың шығыс жағында 1,5 шақырым жерде.
According to archaeologists, population migrated voluntarily, meaning that when the city was conquered by Mongols, population migrated to a locality called Mıntobe, whereas archaeologists associate migration with increase in distance and change in the riverbed, so population migrated to another place that is confirmed by excavations. When we opened domestic premises, we could see that people moved in an unhurried manner, as we could judge by a small quantity of found ceramic items.
Қалаларда көшіп кеткен байқалады, өйткені онда көп марынды дүниелер табылып жатқан жоқ, ондай бір сенсациялық бұл керамика ыдыстар кәдімгідей бөлмелерді, тұрғын жайларды ашқанда кәдімгі керамикалардың аз табылуы.
It is known from written accounts that at the beginning of the 13th century, the city was conquered by the Mongolian brigade under command of Joly Khan. According to scientists, ZHANKENT was given in without a struggle and escaped from bashing, unlike Saganak, Ashnas, Barchkent, which citizens opposed to Mongols, and this resulted in destruction of cities. Science opinion about the end of ZHANKENT is associated with suppression of Kipchaks from the northeast, as well as with the fact that OGUZ looked for all-year residents and moved west and southward. Disaster described in legends is only an accompaniment. In my opinion, we need to conduct archaeological excavations to assert anything exactly, due to limited available information.
Батысқа қарай, оңтүстікке қарай жылжуымен байланысты деп ойлаймын. Ал енді оның жаңағы аңыздарда айтылатындағы апаттары қосымша бір мәліметтер болып есептелінеді. Содан кейін оның нағыз құпиясын ашу үшін ұзақ уақытқа созылған кең көлемдегі қазба жұмыстарын жүргізу керек. Себебі қала туралы, жалпы Сырдарияның төменгі ағысындағы қалалар туралы жазба мәліметтер өте аз, кейін мардымсыз.
Сырдарияның арнасы 18-ші ғасырға дейін, 19-ші ғасырға дейін бір ғана арнамен аққан жоқ. Бұл арнасын үнемі өзгертіп отырған.
In 18th, 19th centuries, the Sirdarya riverbed was not a single one. It varied at any time. It is also possible that an ancient riverbed deviated far westward, so the population used to live close to fresh water could hardly accept the situation. They could not produce water digging wells. This was one of the reasons for leaving the city, in other words, the eco-catastrophe, drifting of the Sirdarya river well apart from the city.
Апаттың себеп болуы мүмкін. Дария арнасының қалашықтан көп шақырымға қашып кетуі.
The history hates the subjunctive mood, as historians and archaeologists say. Nevertheless, from archaeological finds and insignificant but confirmed facts, we can imagine, although distantly, the capital city of OGUZ, what kind of people lived there, ways of development of their culture and trade, how their household was formed. As to the story of destruction of ZHANKENT, everyone should decide himself whether to believe in legends or the blunt facts. Some secrets of the Great Steppe still remain secret for us.